Not nobody. Not nobody, but almost nobody. Check out this first problem. So it's 2x over 5 equals x minus 1 over 3 plus 2x plus 4. So there's some different strategies. You know, I saw some people decide, I got to multiply by 5. That's kind of cool. You should multiply by 5 to kill that. But then later, you're going to want to multiply by a 3 to kill that. So why don't you just multiply by 15? Anyway, so you can do that. You can just multiply the whole thing by 15. But even people that had that idea made several mistakes. So let me help you. If you are going to multiply by 15, you do it like this. You do both sides of the equal sign. So on this side of the equal sign, you're multiplying by 15. On this side of the equal sign, you're multiplying the whole thing by 15. So that means this term, and this term all have to get multiplied by 15. That's multiplying the right-hand side by 15 and the left-hand side by 15. So, now watch how you do it. Don't multiply by 15, please. Please cancel the 5 into the 15, leaving a 3, which leaves us 6x. Thank you. Don't multiply by 15. Please cancel the 3 into the 15, leaving a 5, which does have to distribute right here, and leave us 5x minus 5. You guys okay? There's nothing to cancel here, so please multiply by 15. That's a 30x. There's nothing to cancel here. Please multiply by 15. That's a 60. And now you're good to go. But it was that first step that people don't get. Some people just make a mistake. Some people just flat don't get it, and they look very confused when they try to do this. So maybe I can help you. Maybe you can work on that for the next couple days. I'll finish this by gathering some like terms together. This is a 35x right here, and this is a 55 when you add these numbers together. They're all on that side of the equal sign. So I think I should move this to this side of the equal sign, which would mean I subtract, which gives me negative 29x. A lot of people lost their negative sign. And now you divide by that, and this is my answer. It's a nasty little answer, but that's the answer when you solve this equation. And it'd be good if you missed it to run back over it and try to get it. Practice some more of it in the homework, maybe. Let's see. I want to talk about, what else do I want to talk about? Number 3. So this was number 1 on your quiz. Number 3 is a little funny. I gave you this chart of x's and y's. And the question is, does this data look like it's linear? Does this data look like it's linear? And maybe that's a bad question. Is that what it says? It says, does the data fit a linear function, yes or no? So if you tried to plot this data, like I might have suggested, some of the homework, you just plotted points and it looked pretty good. I think plotting these damn points would be tough. Do you agree? I mean, those nasty decimals, and I don't think you can plot this very accurately and tell whether it's linear. So my suggestion is you go ahead and calculate a slope and see what you get by subtracting the y's and subtracting the x's. What you get is negative 11 over 4.4, which actually turns out to be negative 2.5. Well, maybe you should check another slope. Let's check these two slopes to see if the data really is linear. I mean, not two slopes. Let's check this slope between these 2 points. And you find out you get the same thing. Actually, you get a 22 over 8.8, but that reduces to negative 2.5. It's funny on your quizzes, you guys don't pick up your calculator and actually divide that. You leave me that, like that's your slope. That's, whatever. I was accepting that, but that's, you can divide it and see it clearer maybe, that that's the slope. So anyway, I think all the data has the same slope. That makes it linear. So yes, it was linear. I think most people got that, but you struggled with calculating this slope. I think on your test or your quiz, or your test and your quizzes, you have some tougher problems to solve than this. But on this quiz, you had this easy problem to try to solve. And I'm talking to you as my class. I do teach other college algebra classes. So in general, all my classes kind of had some issues with this, but it was an easy one. You shouldn't. You know what happened to people, don't you? So the way this is set up, I would substitute. And I would grab this because it's equal to y, and I would substitute it in there. And guess what happened to a lot of people? Do you know what happened to them? Do you know? What happens to people when they do this? I'm substituting this in for that y. I just did the mistake myself. If I'm subtracting that y, it should be in parentheses. And the negative sign should distribute. And when you don't do that, you ruin the problem. You get it all wrong. I don't know if that happened to you guys. But you substitute it in. But when you substitute it in, when it's being subtracted, the whole thing is being subtracted. And it's important to distribute the negative sign. When you don't distribute the negative sign, you don't get the negative 5 and you get the problem wrong. This is easy. It's an x. You move the 5 over and you get x equals 9. But if you don't use the parentheses and don't distribute the negative sign, it's a positive 5, you get a different answer, right? You get it, it's wrong. So be careful when you're substituting. I think parentheses are important. Anyway, and then this is where I found some people just circled this and left it. Of course, that's half the answer. You need to find y. I would go right back there, and y is 2 times 9 plus 5. 18 plus 5 is 23. So there you go. And there they are. They're circled. That's my answer. Technically, it's an ordered pair. It's an ordered pair. Let's talk about this last one on the quiz, although it's called number 5, and it's got a part A, B, C, D, and E to it. Let's just go over it, and then maybe we'll be done for the day. I can't remember how. I think most of you guys did okay on this, but a lot of my classes didn't. So let's go over this. Number 5. It says this businesswoman is selling outfits in the mall, and it says if she sells 52 outfits, her cost is $845. When I read that, 52, 800, her cost is $845. Then when she sells 100 outfits, her cost is $1,025. So when I read that, I see 2 points. Some people struggled with that. I see 2 points, and if you see 2 points, you probably could go find the slope, and if you find the slope, you could probably find the equation, because that's what it wants. If it says find the equation that models this cost function. So you're looking for the cost equation. You're looking for the cost equation. Did they say it was linear? Yeah, it said it was a line. So you got 2 points, and you're finding the equation of a line. Let's just knock it out quick. The slope is the y minus the y over the x minus the x. That's 180 over 48. I would divide it and call it 3.75, I think, which is my cost, which is my slope, but it's my, what does it mean in the real world of this problem? I'll get back to that. Now that I have a slope and a point, I can do the equation of the line. Y minus the y value, 1025, equals the slope, 3.75, times x minus 100. So little chapter 1 skills there. Get the slope and then get the equation of the line. This equation is going to be my cost equation. That y is cost, actually. I'm going to distribute that. 3.75x minus 375. When you multiply by 100, that's what you get, I guess. And then add this 1025, and you get 3.75x plus 650. Is that what you guys had? Cool. And this is this y is cost. You can call it C if you want to. It's the cost equation. Hey, let me ask you again, now that I'm at the end of this cost equation. What's that 3.75? It's called the marginal cost. That's good. What's another word for it? It's the slope. Let's see, what does that mean? What does marginal cost mean? She's making these outfits. It costs her this much. Makes this many, it costs her this much. What's the 375? It's the cost per outfit. Each outfit costs $375. Okay, it's the cost per outfit. What's the 650?
Fixed cost.
Kind of her initial fixed cost. That's her sewing machine and her thread and her whatever. I don't know, right? Her initial cost and then her cost per unit. Right, her marginal cost. All right, anyway, then part B says, and it had a nice sentence that told you the revenue is the price times X, and then it says she's gonna sell these for $9.99. So what's her revenue function? And it's the selling price times X. So that was easy. Then part C says find the profit function. And so the profit function is revenue minus cost. So here I go. Some students, watch this mistake. It's revenue minus cost. And if you just put that in here, you're making a mistake. You're making a mistake. I just made a mistake. What is my mistake? I'm subtracting the entire cost function. Parentheses would be helpful for me to realize that the negative sign distributes, which it does. And so now I'll distribute the negative sign, and the profit function actually looks like this. 999x minus 375x is 624x. And then the minus sign distributes, minus 650. So I wanted this profit equation, and some of you had a mistake right there. But all these things were worth 3 or 2 or 3 points. Anyway, the last question is, where's that break-even point? And there's 2 ways you could have done it. 2 ways to break even, you know that. 2 ways you can break even. Now that you built yourself a cost equation, now that you built yourself a profit equation, you break even when the profit equals 0. Right, you guys? You break even when the profit equals 0. Or, hang on, let's just say you didn't like this profit equation. You also break even when the revenue equals the cost. When the revenue equals the cost. I mean, essentially, it looks a little different there, but the math is kind of the same. I mean, the end is the same. Move the 650 over, divide by that number, group this together, which means you get the 624, and divide by the 624. So anyway, the answer is the same, however you approach this. The answer is the 650 divided by the 624, 6.24, and what was it? 104.166. Okay, now listen to this. So there's the answer. And I was happy. I gave you credit for that. But the truth is, she's building these dresses, right? Is that what she's doing? She's sewing these dresses or outfits or whatever they are, and she's selling these things. Anyway, you can't sell 104.16. So maybe you round it off and say the answer is 104. There's a slight problem with that. If it takes 104.16 to break even, then at 104, you ain't quite broke even. Your profit is a little less than 0. You haven't broke even yet. I mean, if it takes this to equal 0, then at 104, you're a little less than 0, I believe. And so rounding it to 104 is just a little technicality, but it's a technicality that's wrong, I think. 104, she ain't quite broke even. Damn, she's close. She's darn close. Real close. But she hasn't quite broke even. Maybe it's appropriate to actually call this 105. Because then you're past breaking even, but you're starting to make a profit. I mean, I didn't grade you on that. I'm just having this discussion. A discussion in reality, kind of. Any questions, you guys? Well, this test could be longer. There could be more work involved, you know, when you're solving a system of equations. I don't know. Be here on time, and we'll start on time, and you'll take a test Thursday morning. I guess you should bring a Scantron, again, and a pencil and a calculator. And I'll see you Thursday morning.